This is Adding and Subtracting Fractions playlist video number 4. Let us dive right in. Our objective today, as Dr. Geller and her dinosaur friend stated, today I will be able to subtract mixed numbers from mixed numbers with unlike denominators by finding common denominators. Our number one rule for fractions has not changed throughout this entire playlist. It is still to add, subtract, or compare fractions. The denominators have to be the same. Very, very important. If we have talked about it every video, you would think one would take note. Here are our steps to subtract mixed numbers before we get into our example. You'll find that they're very similar to adding mixed numbers, so let us look at number one. Number one is find a common denominator using the pattern method. Number two is to line up the whole number and fractions vertically and circle the numerators. Number three, you will subtract the numerators and then the whole numbers. And you are always asking yourself, just as we did with whole numbers, do I have more on the top or more on the floor? As always, more on the top, no need to stop. More on the floor, go next door and get one more, not 10 more. We will explore step number 4 in our next video. So let's get right with it today. Here with Instructor Beats, again, I am Dr. Bones. So we have here the I do, 10 2/3 minus 1 3/5 equals the raptor. Many of you know that I am a paleontologist by trait and a fractionologist by hobby. So we are going to use the variable of a raptor rather than just a normal boring number. So as always, my number one rule is my denominators have to be the same. So on a scrap piece of paper, you would want to do your pattern method for both of these fractions. Now we use the pattern method here at Instructor Beats because we find it is the easiest, but if you know how to use your identity property of multiplication, we invite you to do that. This is the same thing because we are using repeated addition, which is the same thing as multiplication. So I'm going to skip count by my denominator, 3, 6, 9, 12. My numerator is 2, so 2, 4, 6, 8. I do not see a 5, obviously, for my denominator, so I'm going to go 10, 5, 10, 15, and 20, 3, 6, 9, and 12. Now, I always start with 4 equivalent fractions. You can see here I did 2/3 times 1 over 1, 2/3 times 2 over 2, 2/3 times 3 over 3, and 2/3 times 4 over 4. However, I still do not have a common denominator. I know, though, if I add another 3 here, I will now have a common denominator of 15. So I continue adding by 2 up top, and my common denominator is 15. Some would even say this is the least common multiple of 3 and 5 would be 15. I'm now rewrite my problem. So 2/3, the equivalent fraction that I'm renaming it, is 10/15. Again, I'm not changing the value. If Dr. Geller ate 2/3 of a donut, and I ate 10/15 of the same size donut, we have eaten the exact same amount. 3/5 became 9/15. By the way, if you see Dr. Geller, tell her I would like some donuts. Now that is on my mind. She never buys me anything. And so now I have my common denominator. I can now line these up vertically, 10 and 10/15 minus 1 whole and 9/15. And I'm going to circle my numerators as always. 10 minus 9, more on the top, no need to stop. My denominator stays the same. 10 minus 1 is 9. And so I have found that my raptor, which I like to call Blue from the movie Jurassic Park, not appropriate for young students, but maybe if you're an older student. So Blue equals 9 and 1/15. And I have found the answer to my math equation. Let us do one together. So, here I see that I've added parentheses to my equation, And again, I am still trying to find what my raptor is. I have 1 plus parentheses 4 and 9/10 minus 1 and 2/5. Now, I will show you two ways to do this problem. We're going to write down the fraction way, and then we can have a little bit of fun. So I know that because of my order of operations, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally for farting. Just kidding. Just please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Dr. Bones likes to have fun. I need to do my parentheses first, which means I need to do my subtraction. So I know that I'm doing 9/10 and 2/5, which means I need to find a common denominator, which, lucky for me, only requires one step. So now I'm going to rewrite the entire problem underneath with my common denominators. I know that 2/5 became 4/10, and I'm still trying to equal my raptor. So I'm going to line up my mixed numbers vertically. You should be doing this with me. Minus 1 and 4/10, and I'm going to circle my numerators. I know 9 minus 4, more on the top, no need to stop. 9 minus 4 equals 5. My denominator stays the same, and my answer is 3 and 5/10. However, I have not answered the entire question because I did not ever add my 1. So I need to make sure that I rewrite over here, solving my problem one step at a time, 3 and 5/10, and now I know that 1 plus 3 is 4, and my answer is 5/10. However, I do need, because I am a fractionologist, to simplify 5/10, and I know that I can simplify 5/10 by dividing it by the big one, 5 over 5, which makes my new answer 4 and 1/2. So I had to line up my mixed numbers vertically, just like I had to when I was adding mixed numbers, and subtract, as always, simplifying my answer when I can. Now, I'm going to write my answer as 4 and 5/10 over here, because now we're going to have a little bit of unscripted fun. Sometimes paleontologists really get a bad rap for being boring. However, every now and then we like to have a little bit of fun. So let me show you another way to solve this magnificent problem. If I remember my teaching, I know that fractions and decimals are the exact same thing. So here I'm going to turn 2/5 into 4/10. But instead of doing mixed numbers now, I'm going to write the equivalent decimal. So I have 4 and 9/10 minus 1 and 4/10. This obviously still in parentheses. And now I can just go ahead and subtract these like normal. Drop it like it's hot. We have a wonderful adding and subtracting decimal playlist here on Instructed Beats if you'd like to check it out. And now I have 3 and 5/10. And again, when I add my 1 to that, I still get 4 and 5/10, which, if you look up here, is the exact same thing. So sometimes you can have a little bit of fun by turning your fractions into their equivalent decimals and solving it this way. You will still get the exact same answer if you have done it correctly. Now, some of you are asking a very important question right now. What if it's a word problem, Dr. Bones? And my answer is the same as it was in video lesson number 1 and number 2. We go to fraction rule number 2. Get it? Anything you can do with a whole number, you can also do with a fraction. You can add, you can subtract, you can multiply, divide, do exponents, find square roots, do all of those crazy things, including word problems. So, if you have a word problem in front of you with fractions, don't fret, don't break your neck, just do the sides check, which again, Instructed Beats has a wonderful song to explain our word problem strategy to you if you do not have one. If you are a loyal follower of Instructed Beats, you will know what I'm talking about. Go ahead and use your statement and identify developing your plan with your tape diagrams, and you will be able to solve any fraction word problem. Thank you so much for spending your time today with Dr. Bones, Dr. Geller in Instructabeats. We hope you will check out our other videos on Instructabeats Official. Follow us on Instagram at Instructabeats. And as always, please subscribe. Instructabeats and Dr. Bones, out.